proved in the run-up to this, and then in this election, that yes, the Chinese people can handle democracy pretty well. In fact, they are a beacon for the world. Nicole Sy joins us. Ma'am, give us the highlights here before we get into the victory speech. In the face of really massive pushback and threats by the Chinese Communist Party, the people in Taiwan stepped up and were pretty clear about, at the presidential level, about what they want, correct?
Well, absolutely. It is a total victory and a victory day for not only the people in Taiwan, but also for all democracies from around the world. So today, the ruling party presidential candidate, William Lai, or the Lai Ching-te, won. And so he just gave a victory speech. So despite all of the CCP's military intimidation, economic coercion, influence peddling campaign, Taiwanese people voted Beijing's most hated candidate, and that is William Lai. He's a hardliner, and he wants to stand for Taiwan's independence from the CCP's control and manipulation. So today we just learned that the CCP has blocked all the news about this Taiwan presidential election, but Laobaixing in China, from the east coast to west mountains, they're using fireworks to celebrate Taiwanese people's victory, because that's a victory against the CCP's intimidation and deterrence.
Now, we'll get into this in a few minutes, but on the legislative side, it looks like it's going to be split. It looks like the Kuomintang may have a slight 1 or 2 seat majority, but it's very close. There's the TPP party that hasn't decided what they're going to go. But in the legislature, let's say it's roughly looks like 50-50, and they may be able to block some things. We'll have to figure that out as we go on. But what the CCP threw down hard at the presidential level and said, absolutely, in fact, they were intimating that if you vote for William Lai, you're voting for war. Am I incorrect there?
Yeah, so according to the CCP's propaganda, if
I'm recording
Taiwanese
this.
people make Lai Ching-te the president, it means the Taiwanese people will be voting for the war. But in a victory speech, William Lai told the international community that Taiwanese people make the correct choice between freedom and authoritarianism. And he commended the Taiwanese people for the absolute courage in making the right choice. And he also said that this victory showed that Taiwanese people can resist the CCP's intimidation and coercion. And he also stressed that Taiwan will continue to work with all the democracies from around the world. And also, he said he's open to dialogue with Beijing based on the rule of law and based on dignity and equality.
See, this is where we're going to unmask all the hypocrisies. All this whining from the illegitimate Biden regime and their allies and all the folks in NATO. Democracy. It's all about democracy. It's all about democracy in Ukraine. Not one of those gutless leaders will step up against the CCP and say, yes, what Taiwan did, they won't recognize Taiwan, they won't back the DPP. This shows you the absolute abject hypocrisy of these phonies when they're sitting there crying, oh, Ukraine's got to have democracy, it's democracy, when there's no democracy in Ukraine at all, okay? Here you had a free people in the face of a brutal enemy 90 miles away that essentially said, hey, we're voting for our freedom and our liberty, and we'll fight for our freedom and our liberty if we have to. And all the other folks, oh, this is all about democracy, they're all liars. They're all cowards and liars. They haven't backed Taiwan. They haven't backed the free Chinese people in Taiwan. They haven't backed the Republic of Taiwan. And now you see France running there and saying great job. You see the United Kingdom coming over and saying great job. You see the Germans coming over and saying great job. You see the Italians. Where's Giorgia Meloni? Where are all these people that are sitting there saying, oh, this is all about democracy in Ukraine? Well, we just had an example of a free people voting for freedom when this massive dictatorial military is saying that, hey, we're going to either do a naval blockade, we're going to take over the South China Sea, or we're going to invade. And those people at the ballots box said no. Your thoughts, Nicole?
I think Taiwan is definitely one of the most vibrant democracy from around the world, and Ukraine cannot be compared with Taiwan. Since 1996, Taiwan had the first presidential election. Every election faced the CCP's military intimidation, economic coercion, and total blockade. The Taiwanese people were so brave, and again, they defeated the CCP's interference because they're determined to preserve Taiwan's independence and freedom. So I think that Taiwan is a great role model for all the democracies. We know this year the turnout for the voting is about 75%, and also there's no mail-in ballot. All the votes are counted by hand, and so there's no chance for election fraud. They don't use Dominion voting machine. So Taiwan is a great role model, and it inspired the 1.4 billion people in China to stand up against the CCP. So that's why Taiwan is so strategic in terms of the geopolitical importance, and they matter a lot to the U.S. national interest, not only in Indo-Pacific, but from around the world, because Taiwan has the largest semiconductor chips, and they're also planning to have factories in Arizona, in other parts of the world. They're trying to reduce Taiwan's economic dependence on CCP country, and so I think that's also something that U.S. can learn from Taiwan. We need to reduce our energy dependence, economic dependence on the CCP, and make America independent and great again.